Hello everybody, New Biker here, coming to you from the twisty roads of Essex in the UK. You're watching Motoramblings.
Hey guys, welcome back to Motoramblings. I'm Patrick, and this evening I am on Copper, my 2012 Suzuki VStrom DL 650, cruising along the French Broad River. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about my son and his sudden interest, or at least a little, in motorcycles. It's something I've been wanting him to get interested in for a while now, and he's been reluctant. You know, he really doesn't have any interest. He doesn't have a lot of friends that have motorcycles. But recently, he's out of the blue showed me a couple of pictures of motorcycles he's been looking at online. And I'm actually quite happy about it. And of course, at the same time, very nervous about it too. And aside from all of the stuff that goes with having your child start to do something that's fairly dangerous, it brought up a question of, I asked him, what do you plan to do on a motorcycle? What do you want to do on a motorcycle? Do you want to get on the tail of the dragon and just whip back and forth? Do you want to go on these long, epic motorcycle rides? You know, what is your... Actually, I'm going to keep going straight for a while. What is your plans? What do you think your future is going to be with a motorcycle? And he said that, you know, he does want to do stuff like ride the tail of the dragon, but he wants a bike that he can ride to and from work, and maybe go on some overnight trips. Nothing long, but, you know, at the moment, that's, you know, what he was thinking, like an overnight trip. And it got me thinking about, you know, my motorcycle life, how it's evolved. I was talking to a buddy today, he's about my age, and I talked about the fact that my buddy doesn't believe that younger people are going to be interested in doing the same things on motorcycles that we are interested in doing now that we're older. And for the most part, I get that. You know, you're a young kid, you know, you want to show off, you want to, you know, show people what you're riding, you want to show people how you ride, you want to do the cool things. Fortunately, my son said he really wants to start on something small and used and work his way up. But we spoke about this in a previous video. I'm obsessed with this whole motorcycling thing. It's all I think about, and I want to ride more. I want to go places. I want to experience things that have to do with riding motorcycles. I want to do vans. I want to do all these different kinds of things with other bikers, without other bikers. I want to, you know, I would love to do a group ride across the country. I would also really love to do a ride by myself across the country. So all these things have me hooked, and I'm just really wanting to do it. But when I first started riding back in the mid to late 80s, none of that ever crossed my mind. When I bought my first motorcycle, it was to be able to go take a ride, to maybe ride it to work. I loved the way that bike looked. I loved the way it sounded. I wanted to ride, you know, and show it off, basically. But I never did anything to improve my skills. I never did anything to expand my horizons. It never, ever even crossed my mind to do a trip on a motorcycle. It was so far in a concept that it wasn't even a concept. I never even considered it. A buddy of mine had a bike, and we'd ride down to the beach. I remember going to a July 4th celebration along the water. Yeah, and that was cool. That was fun. That was it. I enjoyed riding the bike because it was different than being in the car. And that was about the extent of it. And when I got divorced and I moved down here, I had a Goldwing. I had a 1995 Honda Goldwing, and it was brand new. And I brought it down here to Western North Carolina, to home of some of the absolute best motorcycle riding and destinations in the entire country. And not too long after I got here, I sold it. I wasn't riding it all that much, and I wanted to buy a house. So I took the money I made from this bike that didn't have a lot of miles on it, and I used it for a down payment on a house. And then, my wife and I had Mitchell. And I tried to get another bike at one point. I got a Yamaha Virago. And I rode it to and from work a couple times. And yeah, that was about it. Got rid of it. Then Mitchell decided to start riding these little bikes. He had a little battery operated one first, then he had a little 50cc gas powered bike, then he got the 125cc gas powered pit bike. And I thought, I have a motorcycle license. I know how to ride. I want to ride with this kid. Train. So I bought that DR650. And again, I rode it to and from work a couple times because it was fun. I hadn't been on one in a while. And I also rode it with Mitchell. Buddy had a field. Excuse me. Buddy had a field that we went to, and we trucked the bikes to this field and cruised around, messing around in the field on his little pit bike and my little DR650 that felt like a dirt bike. And that was about that. And then Mitchell outgrew the 125 and got into cars and not motorcycles. And I still had this DR650 that I really wasn't using that much. And then I rode with a buddy of mine who was just getting back into motorcycles after being away for a very long time. And he and another guy and I, we took a ride and we went on that road 209, which I didn't know anything about. Oh, what a cool road. God, I had fun. And then my buddy got his first bike and he took me over to the Tail of the Dragon. Oh, okay, now we're talking. But then he said something that just kind of blew my mind. He said he wanted to go on a trip. Trip? What the hell are you talking about, a trip? Well, one thing led to another. I started watching videos. I started looking into it a little bit. And of course, I spent a bunch of money getting racks and bags and top cases and tank bags and GPS units because, dang, I thought that was a cool idea. I was going to take a motorcycle and go on a trip. Well, I did, and boy, did I get addicted to it, as we all know. But the whole point is that, is Mitchell going to have that same attraction? Does the allure of taking a long road trip on a motorcycle catch him the way it does me? Does the romance of doing something like this by yourself or, with somebody, does it grab him the way it grabbed me? I was older. I was in my 40s at this point. Mitchell's still in his early 20s. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him interested in doing the same things on a motorcycle that I'm dying to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think that we'll have an absolute blast on a motorcycle doing whatever it is he wants to do on a motorcycle, and I get to share that with him. Hopefully I can convince him to take a trip or two, and maybe that's all it will take, and he'll be hooked the way I am. So anyway, just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit, that, you know, got an opportunity coming up in front of me here with my son. I'm hoping he buys a bike. I'm gonna basically stay out of it for the most part, let him choose what he wants. He's already made some indications that he's gonna be pretty smart about it. And then when he gets a bike, I hope to be able to instill some of the confidence I have in riding into him. Because if you have the confidence, believe it or not, you have the ability. It's like target fixation. You focus on something, most likely that's what's going to happen. So if you can get yourself focused on your abilities rather than what could go wrong, you know what? You might just have a whole lot of success in whatever it is. So anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble on about this. Hopefully it won't be long, and I'll be able to tell you that Mitchell got a bike and that I'm showing him how to ride. Alright, I will talk to y'all later. Motor Ramblings out.